Listen carefully, because this is for you, specifically for you, right now. There's a version of you that needs to die. And I'm not talking about physical death. I'm talking about a spiritual, mental, emotional execution. That version currently living inside you, breathing, seeping into your decisions. That version wrapped in comfort, hiding from truth, resisting change, silently sabotaging your future. And if you don't kill this version of yourself today, tomorrow it will kill your potential, drown your goals, bury your dreams in a grave. Humanity's most tragic story isn't failure. It's the person who evolution knocked on the door for, but never opened it. The person who was almost great, but chose mediocrity. The person slightly above average, but light years away from being extraordinary. Growth isn't a game of chance, isn't coincidence, isn't prayer. Growth is a sacred duty, your debt, your destiny. And it happens not when you feel ready, but when you decide. You must force yourself into something bigger than who you are, because that old version of you built with survival instincts, shaped by fear, tolerated by your past's pain, cannot be carried into your future. Shouldn't be carried, won't be carried. Imagining a better life is child's play. You must become the man who can live that life, and this transformation is violent, merciless, draws blood. It demands sacrifice, demands discomfort, demands a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute internal war with every cell of you longing for comfort. Your past self isn't the vehicle that will take you where you're going. You must demolish that indifferent, indecisive, distracted, weak version of yourself. Turn it into rubble. You must tear out its habits one by one, throw its excuses in its face, learn to burn its story and write a new one from the ashes. Do you want a new life, real change, complete metamorphosis? Then completely, definitively, irreversibly let go of that identity clinging to your old identity, dependent on it, continuing to glorify it. This transformation won't feel like progress, won't come like growth, won't taste like victory. Quite the opposite, it will feel like pain, will come like destruction, will taste like death. But don't fear this pain. Embrace this pain. Dance inside this pain, because this pain is the sound of your limits shattering, the bars of your cage breaking, the chains snapping. It's the final scream of your old self resisting extinction, the panicked cry. Let it scream. Let it burn. Let it turn to ash. Let it mix with the wind because your higher self is waiting there in a corner, watching, ready to emerge the millisecond you stop pampering that weak version of yourself. Compare now. Old you wakes up late, starts the day late, enters life delayed. New you dominates mornings, wakes before the sun, hunts in darkness. Old you avoids responsibility, runs, hides. New you seeks it, chases it, grabs it by the throat when caught. Old you escapes with distractions, looks at the phone, gets lost in social media. New you follows discipline with obsession, protects focus like religion, considers deviations sin. You can never reach your potential while dragging the corpse of your past identity. That weight pulls you down, sinks you, drowns you. You must bury it. And digging this grave isn't a one-time job. It's done every morning, every noon, every evening. Every time you wake up choosing intention over impulse, when you take action even when you don't feel like it, when you do your work without applause, without likes, without approval, that grave deepens a bit more. Growth isn't found in comfort, doesn't live in the living room, doesn't sleep in your bed. Growth isn't found in motivation either, not in beautiful words, inspirational videos, vision boards. Growth is found in resistance, lives in that relentless friction between who you are and who you will become, in that conflict, in that battlefield. So stop wanting the easy thing. Stop wishing for it. Stop expecting it, because the easy thing will betray you, will stab you in the back, is the comforting but poisonous meal of failure. Instead, want truth, want nakedness, want contradiction, want the challenge, want the difficulty, want that merciless pressure that shapes character. Because here's what most people will never, ever understand. Your future self, the one with power, live in peace, knowing purpose is already inside you, waiting somewhere hidden. But right now it's imprisoned under the weight of your current habits, crushed, breathless, drowning under your excuses, screaming behind distractions, and only you alone can set it free. Not with words, not with sweet dreams, with daily disciplined, repeated, unwavering actions. Every second you remain loyal to your past self, you cannot. Rise every moment you're pinned to the ground. This chain of loyalty must be broken, shattered, uprooted. You must betray that settled, hiding, hesitating, cowardly self of yours. Yes, I'm using the word betray consciously. It must be betrayed, stabbed in the back. Abandon that old self of yours, because that self betrayed your potential long enough. For years, for decades, and now the time for reckoning has come. If you want to rise, really want to rise, you must declare open war on your lower self, challenge it, corner it. You must make your old habits uncomfortable, unbearable, disgusting. You must find your old excuses unacceptable, ridiculous, shameful. You must make your old patterns so unbearable that even thinking about them makes you sick. Stop trying to improve, heal, fix that old version of yourself. Don't spend that much energy, because that version isn't worth saving, isn't worth restoring. It was never, ever designed for the peaks you're about to reach, the empire you'll build, the life you'll live. You must replace it not with luck, hope, chance, but with ruthless, disciplined, intentional, calculated, methodological development. Destroy it. I'm not telling you this to inspire you, not narrating this to be a motivational speech. I'm telling you this because this is a vital necessity, a matter of survival, your right to breathe. Because mediocrity has a massive gravitational pull, pulls everything in like a black hole, and if you don't resist it with all your strength, all your being, your last breath's strength, it will pull you back, swallow you, annihilate you. Engrave this in your head, inscribe it on your heart, imprint it on your soul. Change is inevitable. There's no escape. You'll lose your comfort, your pride, your laziness, your arrogance. You'll lose it all. But staying the same, staying in that safe harbor, makes you lose everything. Not just one thing, everything. Your purpose, your peace, your potential, your value, your meaning, why you exist. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop searching for perfect timing, because such a moment will never come. Life will never hand you opportunity on a silver platter. The only right time is when you decide, this second, this breath. Decide now to stop bargaining with your limitations, dancing with them, convincing them, right now. Decide now, before it's too late, that your old self no longer has a say, cannot vote, has no seat at the table. Decide now, and carve it in stone, that your life will be shaped not by how you feel, but by what you decide, what you choose, because growth doesn't care how you feel, doesn't even look at your emotions. It responds to only one thing, just one thing: action, movement, concrete steps. You'll feel tired, exhausted, depleted, but still continue, even if you crawl. You'll feel fear, you'll panic, You'll freeze but still push forward. One more step, one more millimeter. You'll feel doubt. You'll question yourself. Maybe think you're inadequate, but still take action. Still walk. Still run, because the only way to silence fear is to overcome it, pass over it, walk through it. The only way to destroy doubt is to drown it in progress, crush it with results, kill it with proof. The only way to kill your old self is to deprive it of pleasure, comfort, ease, and feed it with discomfort. Grow it with pain, strengthen it with difficulties. You see, your old self was created by accident, formed randomly, through habits you didn't choose, beliefs you inherited without questioning, pains you never processed, fears left by your ancestors. It was shaped. But your new self, that new man, will be shaped by design, built by plan, created by intention. It won't come from comfort, won't be born from ease. It will be summoned in discomfort, shaped in silence, sharpened in solitude, matured in darkness, and finally rise to light. Not because it's lucky, but because you're willing, because you dared, because you didn't give up. Being willing to do the hard thing, trying the impossible, accepting being misunderstood, being judged, being excluded, being willing to demand more from yourself than from everyone, than from everything. This is the path of all great men, legends, giants. They transcend their past, leave it behind. They overcome their weaknesses, get over them. They subjugate distractions, bring them under control, to reveal something unrecognizable. An extraordinary being, they shed their old shells, shed their skin. What you're doing now is exactly this. Nothing else. This isn't reinvention. This is resurrection. This is rebirth, the phoenix rising from ashes. And it starts with a single decision, ignites with a single choice. I will no longer live in the shell, shadow, ghost of who I used to be. Won't breathe. Because every time you hesitate, every time you pause, your old self wins, scores points, gets stronger. Every time you justify your laziness, when you say, I'm tired today, when you say, I'll start tomorrow, your old self tightens further. Its roots deepen, its claws strengthen. Every time you surrender to comfort, lie on the couch, pick up the phone, you give it one more day, one more hour, one more minute of life, and it gains power. Enough now. Stop now. Cut it now. The world doesn't need another man stuck in his past, living with yesterday. There's more than that. The world needs you, the real you, the authentic you, the genuine you, focused, breathing fire, taking risks, telling truth, no longer waiting to be chosen because you've already, long ago, chosen yourself. A man who no longer timidly circles around his greatness, power, potential, but instead owns it, without apology, without shame, without fear. That man didn't emerge overnight. No, that didn't happen, but is being built brick by brick, decision by decision, discomfort moment by discomfort moment, with drops of sweat, with tears, being sculpted and shaped. And brick by brick, decision by decision, moment by moment, you're rising from the ashes of your old self, from the wreckage of your burned beliefs, from the ruins of your comfort zone's prison. Being born, awakening, because you were never created to stay the same, weren't designed to stagnate, weren't programmed to remain static. You were created for evolution, for transformation, for metamorphosis, and evolution isn't an optional choice, isn't luxury, isn't bonus. Evolution is an urgent necessity, mandatory, a command. Either you evolve or you rot. There's no other option. Either you rise or you collapse. There's no middle road. Either you kill your old self, or it digs your grave, writes your name on your stone. So choose now. Don't postpone. Don't leave it for tomorrow. Choose now, because if you don't overcome your old life, don't transcend it. It will become your graveyard, your tombstone. The end will come, and you weren't born to die in mediocrity, weren't sent to drown in routine. You were born to build something that lasts forever, a legacy remembered for generations, but the foundation must be new, must be solid. The man must be new, must be different. Habits must be new, must be strong. Commitment must be absolute, must be unwavering, must be indisputable. Anything less is unacceptable. Anything less isn't a deal. And yes, true, this will be hard, will be very hard, will be the hardest thing. But listen to me carefully. Raise your head and listen. The path to heaven isn't paved with stones, is covered with thorns, woven with difficulties. Growth is found in resistance, lives in hardship. Strength is built in struggle, won in battle. Mastery is born from repetition, emerges from thousands of repetitions. And greatness, true greatness, comes to the man willing to bury his old self unceremoniously, without show, without applause, comes to the man who digs the grave silently. Comes to the man who pushes himself every day, every hour, every minute, grits his teeth to shed yesterday's self, and that man, the man I'm speaking to now, is you. The man trembling at the voice you hear is you. The man waiting for transformation to happen to him, waiting for a miracle, is the man who will wait forever. Eternally, nothing will happen. Transformation isn't bestowed, isn't gifted, doesn't come as a present. It's taken, stolen, obtained by force. You don't wait to evolve. Don't stay passive. Through repetition, through thousands of repetitions, through pain, through burning, through the daily destruction of thoughts, behaviors, boundaries, fears that no longer serve your mission. The morning ritual, you force evolution, impose it, enforce it, and yes, true. This won't feel natural, won't feel comfortable, because you're moving away from an identity that once kept you safe, armor that protected you. You're undressing. But security isn't your purpose, your mission. Power is your purpose. Dominion is your target. You must start questioning, judging everything your old self called normal, considered natural, because normal is the enemy, the secret killer. Normal is the cage, the web of invisible chains. Normal is the graveyard of your potential, the tombstone of your dreams. That version of you pressing the snooze button, avoiding responsibility, talking on the phone instead of bills, disappearing on Instagram. That's not your friend, not a companion. That's your prisoner, your chain, your prison. And the moment you see it clearly, transparently, mercilessly, recognize its true face, is the moment you reclaim your power, your freedom is born. You must develop intolerance for your own excuses, show allergic reaction, feel disgust toward your old habits, feel such deep, such sincere revulsion toward stagnation that even the thought of staying the same, even imagining it, becomes unbearable, turns your stomach. That's when, at that exact point, change happens, that magical transformation begins. When you stop wishing for growth and start demanding it, commanding it, your luxury of time runs out, your privilege to wait disappears. You have no right to postpone, no permission. Because while you hesitate, while you pause for a second, your potential remains in a cell, in a dark dungeon, unchallenged, unused, unlived, breathless, screaming. Reveal it with action, with intensity, with fierce focus, with an unwavering daily standard that says, my old self is no longer acceptable, can no longer exist. Rescue it, set it free, because your old self may have brought you this far, but the person you must be, will be, is not negotiable, not debatable, not up for discussion. If you aim to go further, reach the summit, don't just improve your habits, patch them. Change your identity from the ground up, fundamentally. Demolish and rebuild. Stop calling yourself a man with potential. That title came cheap. This title quickly loses its validity, loses its meaning. Become the man who executes, finishes, accomplishes, who doesn't dream of transformation. Become the man who embodies, lives, breathes transformation. Everything you do, every decision you make, every word you say must be filtered through this question, screened through this filter. Is this aligned with the man I'm becoming, will become? Does it align? Or does it serve the man I left behind, my old self? Is it pleasing to him? Every decision, every action, every word, every thought must pass through this sieve, through this fire. Because when you decide to become the next level version of yourself, move up to the Premier League, nothing is random anymore, isn't coincidental. Your food, your schedule, your sleep, your thoughts, your relationships, all of them, each one must support the vision, must serve it. All must contribute to the rise. And you must protect this vision like a lion protects its den, its cubs. You must vow to protect it because doubt will come, will knock on your door. Distractions will come, will tempt you. The allure of turning back will scream, will beg, will plead to get your attention. Ignore it. Turn your back. When it whispers just once, when it tries to talk to you just once, respond, "Not anymore, never again." Shout it. When it tells you you've done enough today, worked enough, say, "Enough for whom? According to whose standard?" Ask. For my old self, or for the self I'm becoming, vowed to become, because you must understand that your old self doesn't leave quietly, gracefully, doesn't say goodbye. It claws, scratches with nails. It bargains, tries to make deals. It makes logical explanations, tells you stories. And if you entertain it even for a moment, if you listen to it, you breathe life back into your limitations, blow breath into them. That's why I tell you, I beg you, don't bargain with your old self. Don't even talk to it. Starve it. Leave it thirsty. Ignore it. Dismiss it. Replace it with new rituals, new beliefs, new rules, new standards strong enough to choke, harsh enough to crush the weakness you once called normal, accepted. You don't need more information, more books, videos, seminars. You need to jump, to dive fully, radically, crazily into the life you must live. Read things that empower you, consume content that gives power. Listen to things that sharpen you, lend ear to voices that give sharpness. Surround yourself only with those who remind you of your greatness. Reflect it, affirm it, not with those who validate your excuses. Legitimize them. Audit your environment. Control it because growth will make you bigger than some people, will distance you from them. And this isn't an unwanted situation, isn't a bad thing, not betrayal. This is evolution, adaptation, natural selection. Some people will call your change arrogance, will consider it insolence. Let them call it, let them name it. They're dependent on your old self that made them feel comfortable, didn't challenge them, are used to it. But you didn't come all this way, didn't suffer this much to get their approval, their applause. You came to be fire, to scatter flames. And fire doesn't ask permission, doesn't request leave. Fire doesn't apologize for burning and destroying things that can't come with it, can't keep pace. You were never created to conform, to get lost in the crowd. You were created to rise, to stand out, to climb peaks. And rising requires hurting your past, causing pain, wounding. requires breaking your patterns, collapsing them, requires killing every version of yourself built for survival. So, you can grow, can evolve. Yes, kill it mercilessly. Your lazy self, your anxious self, your overthinking self, your insecure self, your cowardly self. All of these were built, woven from past pains, past conditioning, past compromises, past traumas. They aren't you, aren't your essence. They're who you learned to be, were forced to be. And everything learned can be forgotten, erased, but only and only through action, through movement, through practice. Don't try to heal, treat, repair your old self. That's energy loss. This is no longer your job, your mission. Your job is to replace it with someone stronger, wiser, sharper, who wakes with purpose, walks with vision, sleeps with progress, to create someone new. Your mission is to support your future self as if your life depends on it, like it's your last breath. Protect it because your life truly depends on it. Everything is at stake. Let me tell you the truth, the painful truth, what no one tells. Most people will never talk about this, will stay silent. Success isn't kind, isn't soft, isn't merciful. It makes no exceptions for emotions, shows no mercy. Success requires you to abandon, forsake every belief that feeds your weakness, every excuse. The person waiting to feel ready, watching for the perfect moment, never grows, never develops. But the person advancing despite fear, daring within fear, builds an unshakable legacy, a lasting mark. Is the person no longer moving with motivation, emotional fluctuation, but with standards, with rules? Is the person no longer needing approval, waiting for anyone's applause because they validate themselves, know their own worth? Is the person no longer asking, "Can I be great, I wonder?" Not doubting themselves, but instead expecting, requiring, deserving greatness because they live, breathe in a way where greatness has become inevitable, unavoidable, established. You too must be that person. There's no other option. And being that person is a violent, merciless process, draws blood, will require you to work harder, sweat more, think more, endure more, suffer more than your settled self. But understand me clearly, precisely, raise your head, and understand. This is possible, absolutely possible. And not because you're special, because you're chosen, but because you're willing, because you dared, because you're willing to pay the price in discomfort, to foot the bill, because you're willing to walk alone when necessary, to separate from the crowd, because you're willing to demand results, hold accountable, even when no one's watching, no one's applauding, because your evolution, your real transformation happens there, in those dark hours. Not when you're celebrated, when you discipline yourself, train yourself, in darkness, in silence, in solitude. Not when you feel like it, when you take action despite not wanting to, when you resist. Not when the crowd applauds, when no one's looking, when you applaud yourself for doing what's necessary. When you respect yourself, and if you continue long enough, if you're resilient enough, the man who once had potential, who said, "Maybe I can be," becomes the man who realizes it because you kept your promise, never quit. The promise to leave behind the man afraid of rejection, living with fear of judgment. The man who stayed small to gain acceptance, who bent himself. The man who played it safe to avoid discomfort, who didn't take risks. You buried him, gave him to the earth, and in his place you built, created someone undeniable, irrefutable. Someone whose life is proof that discipline is divine, sacred, transformative. Someone whose habits scream, shout, I wasn't born to conform, wasn't created to fit molds, was born to break patterns, to rewrite rules. Because here's the greatest truth, the deepest secret at this point. Your most powerful version, your most magnificent state, was always there, inside you waiting, standing ready. Not for luck, not to be saved, but for you to finally stop apologizing for your hunger. Give up your domesticated state. Stay silent. And this entire journey, this epic adventure, is about this, built on this. Not about becoming someone else, transforming into someone completely different, but eliminating everything that isn't you, every mask, every falseness, destroying it. Fear isn't you, isn't your essence. Excuses aren't you, aren't your truth. Laziness isn't you, isn't your nature. These are behaviors, remnants, residues left by an old self unaware of its own power, sleeping. But now you know, now you've seen, now you're aware. And when you know, when you realize you can never go back, there's no return. You might stumble, might fall. You might stumble, might hit the ground. But because you've seen so much, felt so much, tasted so much, grown so much, come. So far, you won't retreat, won't go back. There's no going back, only going up, only walking forward. So rise one more time, climb one more step, jump one more level, evolve one more version, and this time decide. Vow that this focused, brave, determined version of yourself, forcing yourself to grow, to develop, will stay, will settle. There's no greater, more important war in the world than the war between your past self and the person you're destined to be, fated to be, this internal war. And this war isn't fought once, isn't received. It's fought, won every morning upon waking, in every decision, in every choice, in every act of resistance, every moment of rebellion against the voice saying, stay the same, stay put. But let me tell you, let me shout what the world won't tell you, what no one says to your face. Staying the same is suffering in disguise of security. Under a mask is slow death. The person rejecting growth, refusing evolution, isn't avoiding pain, isn't escaping, is just choosing, accepting a different form of pain, a slower, quieter, more insidious type of pain. Stagnation feels safe until you understand its price, see its bill, gives you the illusion of being safe. Until one day you wake up surrounded by mediocrity, besieged by ordinariness, buried in regret, wrestling with the ghost of the man you could have been, the voice saying you could have been, until you see the truth. That's exactly why I'm telling you now, at this very second, I'm commanding. Be ruthless in your evolution. Be merciless. Don't just leave your old self behind. Forget it. Bury it under a mountain of discipline, under the Everest of duty. Set a standard so high, unreachable, that it can never climb back. Can't even breathe because you need to understand. Internalize the transformation process, the mechanics of change. Being unrecognizable isn't poetic, isn't romantic, isn't beautiful. It's violent, savage, merciless. And if you're going to be reborn, rise from ashes, the old must be burned, must burn, must become ash. This means no more bargaining with your patterns, no compromising. This means no more talking with doubt, no dialogue. This means no more romanticizing distractions, beautifying them, justifying your inaction, making explanations or excusing your softness, your weakness, legitimizing it. Either you're rising, climbing, or you're rotting, collapsing. Either you're directing yourself with merciless focus, laser-like concentration, or you're drifting toward decay, toward obliteration, following your impulses, your momentary pleasures. And if you want freedom, real freedom, the kind very few people taste, Experience that only comes with discipline is found in strict rules, only comes when your standards are so high, so unreachable that your old self gasps in their presence, suffocates, cannot survive in your new environment, your new world, cannot find oxygen because your new environment is built for performance, for excellence, for power, for purpose, for perseverance, and your old identity, that weak version is allergic to this level of expectation, cannot tolerate it. Let it drown. Let it be breathless. Let the weak man die. Take his last breath. The man who says tomorrow, who postpones, the man waiting for inspiration to come, for motivation to knock, the man who lives the same year, the same routine over and over, calling it growth, development, deceiving himself. He had no intention, no plan to take you anywhere. He was a placeholder, temporary guardian of the throne, was a shadow, pale copy of the person you should be. But now you're leading, commanding. In your own story, your own film, you're no longer a passenger, a spectator. You took the wheel, took control, grabbed the command. And with this power, with this authority, comes the responsibility, the burden to apply without asking permission, to stand, to endure, to grow. You don't need support, don't need approval. You don't need consensus, don't need the group's decision. You need standards, need your rules, need principles, because a man with standards, with clear rules, doesn't need to be motivated, doesn't need inspiration. His life proceeds in alignment with his decisions. Everything is synchronized. Every action, every step, every breath, every movement is measured, weighed by a single question. Does this serve the man I'm becoming, the powerful version I vowed to become? Does it contribute? If yes, it stays. If no, it dies, goes, disappears. This is how you grow, develop. You remove, you screen, you strip, you clean, you tear off, you discard until only truth remains, until essence emerges. You dig until only power remains, until only pure energy remains. And in this field, this clean, pure field, the new you emerges, is born not just stronger, but also unshakable, unbreakable, because when you kill every excuse, every weak identity, every self-limiting belief, every fear, what remains is an unbreakable, indestructible man, a character like steel. Remains a man whose results aren't random, aren't coincidental. Remains a man who is a product of engineering, a marvel of design. Remains a man who doesn't hope for success, doesn't pray for it, expects it, demands it because he lives, breathes in a way that deserves it, earns it. And this expectation, this certainty, is reshaping your world, changing it, is shaping your posture, your voice, your tone, everything, your existence, your energy. People feel this, perceive it. They may not know exactly what changed, can't name it, but they'll understand, will feel that something has fundamentally changed because you won't be carrying the weight, the burden of who you used to be. Won't be dragging it. You'll walk, proceed with the power, the lightness of being the person you chose, decided to create. And at that moment, at that turning point, you won't speak to life like a beggar, like a demander. You'll speak like a builder, like an architect, like an emperor. You'll declare, this is my standard, not negotiable. This is my path, unchangeable. This is my legacy, indisputable. And everything that doesn't align with it, whether habit, relationship, thought, belief, or environment won't survive, will be weeded out, filtered, cleaned. Yes, certainly. There will be grief in the process. There will be pain. Grief, mourning, sorrow for the man you used to be, sadness for the man who was loved, accepted, predictable, safe. But you must mourn him quickly, must recover fast, because he was keeping you average, keeping you in the swamp. And you weren't created to be average, weren't sent for ordinary. You were created to embody fire, spread flames, to carve your name into history with work ethic, vision, uninterrupted focus, and unbreakable will, to leave a legacy for generations. You were created to manage your life like a general commands an army, like a maestro conducts an orchestra, with clarity, with presence, with intentional violence against everything daring to threaten the mission, every distraction, every doubt. And what is the mission? What is the mission? To be the man, to be that man, to be the man no one thought you could be, couldn't even imagine, especially with your old self, your past self. Now this is your mission, your sole purpose. Not to overshadow others, not for ego, not for others, not to prove doubters wrong, not for revenge, but to prove your highest self right, the massive potential inside you, to prove it to yourself. He's watching you. He's waiting. He's patiently standing. He's whispering in your ear, "Don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't slip. Don't retreat. Don't settle. Don't accept," because he knows what's at stake, what's at risk. He knows very well what will happen if you slow down, cut your speed, soften, return to old habits, forget why you started. Your old self wins, returns, reclaims the throne, and if he wins, if your old self returns, you lose everything. Everything disappears. This is the war. This is the real struggle. This is the challenge. This is the real test. And that's why you must go further than you've ever gone, must push your limits. You must overcome fatigue with rage, with pure decision, must crush it. You must rise in pain with precision, with strategic thinking, must grow. You must move in fear with faith, with certainty, must advance, because faith isn't just spiritual, isn't just religious. Faith is also strategic, is tactical. If you keep showing up, appearing, showing discipline, being consistent, destroying things that no longer belong to you, aren't yours, it's the faith, the confidence that the life you're seeking, the world you're dreaming of will be forced to manifest, to emerge. Won't be given, won't be gifted, won't come as present, won't come if you wait. Will be dragged into existence, will be forcefully summoned by the man, by you who overcomes every weak version of himself, who pierces every obstacle and never, ever looks back. That's you. That powerful man is you. You're the man who stopped waiting for growth and chose to force it, to impose it, to enforce it. You're the man who consumed his excuses, finished burning them, and stands upright in their absence. In that void, stands without shaking. You're the man who took control of his impulses, his schedule, his mind, his emotions, who rules until success becomes predictable, until it becomes inevitable. You see, real transformation, lasting change isn't a moment, isn't a single decision. It's the sum, the composite of thousands, tens of thousands of moments where you chose courage over comfort, discipline over ease, clarity over confusion, creativity over laziness. And this choice, this consistent preference becomes your identity, imprints on your DNA. So don't stop now. Don't slow down. Don't retreat. Don't stop this close after coming this far, because the final test, the hardest test, is always the loudest, most violent one. Your old self will scream, will shout, will yell. Your fatigue will increase, will multiply. Pressure will rise, will climb to the sky. But this isn't a sign to give up, isn't a signal to retreat. This is a signal, an indicator. It means your old self is on life support, is taking its last breaths. One more push, one more effort, one more refusal to give up, one more getting up, one more hour of action without audience, without applause, without approval, without anyone seeing, one more day of discipline, and he's gone, he's finished, he's disappeared. You'll fill his place, you'll sit on his throne, not with someone who's figured everything out, who's perfect, but with someone who refuses to stop figuring it out, who never gives up. That man is unstoppable. That power is insurmountable. That man is inevitable. That being is unstoppable. That man is you. That power is inside you. And now, as you move forward, as you progress, understand this completely. Internalize it. There's no finish line. There's no end. There's no final version, no perfect state, because transcending your old self isn't a phase, isn't a goal. It's a lifestyle, a philosophy, a religion. This is a daily death and daily resurrection, being reborn every day. This is a relentless, merciless commitment, a vow to never retreat, never repeat, never stay in the same place, never reuse what you've already lived. This is a sacred vow, an oath saying, I will never ever again allow myself to live as the shadow, as the ghost of my potential. This vow isn't emotional, isn't romantic. It's strategic, it's calculated, it's structural, it's systematic. It's embedded, has taken root in your schedule, your habits, your non-negotiables, your rules, and it gives you peace, power, presence, control, certainty. You walk more upright, your shoulders open, you speak more clearly, your voice rings, you lead more powerfully. People follow you because you know you deserve this. You're worthy of it. You earned this power. You feel it. You earned this in sweat, in silence, in solitude, in darkness. You obtained it. You earned it, deserved it, by forcing yourself outside the safe, the soft, the familiar, what you're used to. And you no longer resemble the man you used to be. That weak version never will. You don't just have better habits, aren't just updated. You don't just have a stronger mind, aren't just a bit smarter. You don't just have more discipline, aren't just a bit more controlled. You became someone completely different. We're created from scratch. We're reborn. And that person, that new being, doesn't chase success, doesn't run after it because it attracts it, pulls it like a magnet because it is success in motion. Is victory walking? Is perfection breathing?